Okay, let's get the ball rolling. Hi everyone. Hope you can hear me loud and clear. If you are not able to hear me or there's some disruption, just maybe indicate it on the chat message. All right, that's great. So welcome to this seminar. And my topic today is a very current topic. There's a lot of interest in this area of agents. Unfortunately, there's also quite a bit of confusion as well. So let me just introduce myself. There, of course, it's opportunity for you to ask questions later in the Q&A portion. But of course, if you do have some questions, burning questions, you can always type it in the chat, and I will try to answer them along the way. Okay, there's a Q&A function at the end, and there's a chat as well. Okay, so my topic today is agents are all in need. I've been given a series of seminars on this topic, but today's one is a 1 hour quick intro to Agentic AI. My name is Dr. Peter Leong. That's my LinkedIn contact. A little bit of a self-intro to myself. I'm actually a lead specialist in the area of AI analytics at Singapore Poly. I have been involved in bringing up the AI programs in the Polytechnic. So in a sense, I'm the chief perpetrator of launching all these diploma level programs in the AI area. My area of where I did my PhD is actually in agents with Professor Miao Chun Yan at Nanyang Technological University. Uh, yeah, that might sound very recent, but actually that was done some time ago because the area of agents has been around since the 1990s actually. Um, uh, so it's not actually a new area in AI, but however, with the introduction of large language models, etc., there's been a resurgence in interest, and also I hope to also tell you that there is a fundamental improvement, right, in the way that AI applications will be developed with the introduction of agents. So I think this is a very exciting time for us AI scientists and researchers because we have been talking about agents for the longest period, maybe 20 years or more, but now is actually the time that we will really see this really take off in a very significant way. So I'm also the course chair for a part-time diploma that we run here in Singapore Poly for adult learners. This is a part-time course, so it's like 2 evenings in the over a course of 8 months, where we will take you from knowing nothing about coding or AI to be fairly proficient in machine learning and also Python programming and some fundamental concepts like statistics. So no worries if you are not actually in this area or you're just an engineer with no knowledge of AI. The AI has been through several winters, so actually for the older adults, actually, including myself, AI was in the winter, and most of us didn't have the opportunity to really study AI during our university days. So this course is for you, right? Because it's been designed to take you from just a basic technical background, infuse you with all the different necessary foundational knowledge, and then go on to a more deepening level in machine learning, as well as deep learning, neural networks. And as we are embarking on a new chapter with the introduction of agentic AI, the topic of agentic AI will also be introduced. Generative AI and agentic AI will be introduced into this specialist diploma as well. So that's link that you can use to sign up. In fact, we are actually recruiting students right now for the October 2025 batch. Okay, not to take too much time for advertisement. So this is actually a short presentation to explore what are AI agents, what are also their application areas. I hope to dwell a little bit about some of the implications that will be resultant as a result of this introduction of AI agents, right? They do have a societal, economic, societal, and security impact for the world. So my presentation is roughly divided into three parts. Okay, first we'll basically be talking about the theory about agents. What are agents? Why are they so special? Why are they different from large language models? Yes, there's some confusion between generative AI and agents. So I hope to dispel some of the confusion. Then the second part will jump a little bit more into the impact in terms of ethical impact as well as societal impact. And lastly, I hope to spend a little bit of time to answer your questions and talk about some of the future of agents that I see coming up. Yeah, agents, we're in some sense just getting started. So there's definitely a roadmap ahead. So first of all, to understand agents, we need to take a maybe go back in history a little bit to see how AI as a field has progressed so far. So we have actually gone through several iterations of the AI revolution so far, starting from 2005 when 2005 late 2000, 2015, where we start seeing a lot more predictive AI applications coming out. We see it on the internet. I think most of you have gone through this thing at the corner here. I think you all can recognize it, right? Which is the let me just turn on my, oh, it doesn't give me my cursor. Okay. Right, the right at the corner, right-hand corner, you see the ICA application that most of you have been using, so you can clear your passport. This don't really need the physical passport. This is actually an AI application. You can recognize your face. Is actually a predictive application because what is predicting is the ID, right? The identity of the person given a certain input camera image, and you know that it is fast and reliable enough to be deployed in place of your physical passport. But what is the difference between this and generative? So I hope to have a quick illustration about difference between the normal predictive model and the generative model that we have. So the discriminative, the what you call the discriminative or predictive model, we originally the data was trained with just two pairs, right? The input data, like these pictures here, and also the corresponding correct label or correct answer. Okay, so for example, if you present the picture of the cat and you also present the label corresponding labels, what the AI is actually training to learn is the association, right? The rule that links the picture to the correct label. So this type of learning is called supervised learning because you have both the input as well as the so-called correct output. And what the model learns is the rule that links the two together. So if you introduce another picture of similar to one of the examples that you have introduced, it will be able to correctly predict the label. But it will not be able to do it for something that was not actually in the original label. And it works well enough. Even the ICA application, right, recognize your face because they have your passport photo, they know your ID, right, when you register for your passport. So actually, both the face and the label is there, right? So it's just supervised learning. Um, but the problem with supervised learning is that it is very expensive exercise to actually get the label, right? You actually need humans or some manual process to get the labeled data. So in the generative AI world, what we are doing is actually we don't actually have the label to do the training, right? It's just basically learning from the data itself, the patterns in the data, and the labels are actually contained within the training data. So you don't actually need a human to manually input the labels. So it's a self-supervised learning. So it's learning from the patterns inside the data itself. It could be large volumes of text. It could be large volumes of text in combination with images. And the model basically learns the patterns inside the original data. And what you do when you actually give it a prompt in a generative AI sense is that you are not actually asking it to just give you a label that is been trained on. Okay, so what it's actually generating is new data similar to what it had been trained with, but this data is novel. It's actually new. It doesn't actually exist inside the original training data. However, it is similar, right? You can always generate new data if you generate noise, but it won't be very useful. So we actually want to have a generative AI model generate new data that's useful for us, but it is useful because it's actually similar to other existing data. I have a quick, somebody actually raised hand. Kim Fu, maybe you can type the message in the chat. Okay, let me move on to next. What is making this possible is something called deep learning. Using neural networks. Uh, in the past, the classic machine learning, like in the 1990s, right, you always have a human programmer to sort of detect the different shapes and characteristics or properties of what we're trying to recognize, and then it passes it to a machine learning algorithm. However, if you're thinking about image recognition, this is actually a bottleneck because the human, the top row, right, the feature extraction part, for a human programmer to extract out all the features for image, there are actually 1,001 combinations because the car could be in different positions, it could be different color, it could be, having different coating, etc. Right? It could be also different models of cars as well. So it's 1,001 millions and one combinations of features that you can extract manually. So what came about as a big revolution in the 2015 period is really this thing called deep learning, where we are actually automatically extracting the features as well. So now we don't need a human to program the feature extraction portion. We just need lots and lots of computation and lots of examples to learn from. Okay. And actually, deep learning also powers things like generative AI because you remember we said it will just automatically learn from the data, right? You don't need human labeler. Like just like classic machine learning, it doesn't need a human labeler. So it can be very efficient if you have just enough computation, but it will require lots and lots of data and lots of computation similar to what we have in deep learning to enable that. So this actually is 2015 that we have launched this, and of course at that time there's already starting to have generative models, but not in the kind that not to the level of ChatGPT. Actually, in the background, as all this is happening, even in the era of machine learning, people have started talking about agents, and I'll come to what agents shortly. So what is very different with the capability of this deep learning is actually a shift away from the traditional way of creating models or AI models for deployment. In the past, because of the need for labeled data, models are normally created bespoke, right? It's for fit for that particular task only. So if I have labeled data for text generation, I build a model for that. I have a labeled data for text classification, which is another task. I'll have a model before that. One model for each task that you have. But with the ability to actually learn from massive amounts of data, unlabeled data, so you don't need the human to create the labeled data now. You just have pure unlabeled data. We are now able to build what we call foundation models or large language models that are able to do multiple tasks, right? It's not one model for each task. We have one model that can do multiple tasks, but we do need to have a process of adapting that large model or the foundation model to those to do each of these tasks. That kind of adaptation is what we call fine tuning. I think some of you may be familiar with that. So this is just an example from NVIDIA. So this foundation model actually is driving a lot of what they call the AI Forge, AI Factory, right? Because you build the infrastructure for one gigantic model, and you're basically able to adapt that for various tasks. It is not exactly equivalent to the old way of doing things because the foundation model does have emergent capabilities as a result of it compressing these huge amounts of data, right? As Ilya Sutskever put it, actually it is a compressed representation of the world. It's maybe more correct to call it a world model rather than just a foundation model, because it's actually a compressed representation of the world encoded in our language, encoded in the images that we've stored, encoded in the textbooks and all the documents that have been fed to do the original pre-training. And we are adapting this world model for different tasks. However, this is still a model that you have trained using pre-training information. So there's always a time horizon for it, right? So if you ask a foundation model, maybe the latest one like the DeepSeek, who's the Prime Minister of Singapore? Guess what's the answer going to be? If they're most of them, the training window is up to 2024 only. So you ask it who's the Prime Minister of Singapore, what's the likely answer for most of these models? Anyone want to just hazard answer in the chat? Yeah. No surprises there. Okay. Because what the model knows about is everything that happened until 2024, right? So it doesn't really know about the election this year, the new prime minister, right? Yeah. So this is a fundamental problem in the way that the models are being used, right? Because they are relying on historic data, right? The patterns are true there, but it's not current, it's not real time information. And all the models, no matter how big or sophisticated it is, has this problem, right? It's not going to run away from it because it's fundamental to the way they are actually constructed. And foundation models, although it's one model to build for various tasks like this, okay, different kind of things that you can do. Some are just involving language, some are involving pictures. But they are actually different categories of foundation models because if we build one model to do everything, it's not very efficient because they are very large already, and it is typically we want to have models that are specialized in different groups of tasks. Okay, it's not just one task. It's different. Of course, like computer vision is anything from recognition to chopping up the picture into different parts called segmentation. Language, of course, has different tasks, summarization, answering questions, and generative models. You all play around with that, right? Creating your Ghibli-like pictures on ChatGPT. These are all involving slightly different techniques. So we do actually have a division of the foundation models, but they have the same characteristic. They have been trained on data that's in the world, right? So basically, the foundation models is the world's data inside the model, and we use this world's data inside the model to do various tasks like this. And it doesn't change regardless of the different areas of foundation models that we apply these large language models to. When I say large language models, I mean foundation models that focus on language like this, but foundation models can also be focused on images and other tasks as well. So foundation models slash large language models or LLMs, they do have this time horizon issue and this um, static nature, right? Because they are actually dependent on the pre-training data. So very recently, Eric Schmidt from Google, Google, right? A well-known guy, chairman of Google. He actually gave this talk. He introduced this idea of in the model and in the world. So in the past, right, all through the 2005 until now, what we've been doing with large language models and foundation models is still the world's data inside the model itself, the gray portion in the diagram here. But with agents, actually, there's a fundamental change or point of inflection because the agent is going to be using data in the world in real time, right? So agents are built, okay, very different on a very different paradigm than the large language model foundation models. They are built to interact with the world in real time. That's fundamental to the way that we actually think about agents. It's online learning, it's not batch learning, right? It is not learning based on data that you have collected, no matter how massive it is in the past. It learns from data that you have in the world presently. So that's why he actually introduced this concept of the model being the world rather than the world being the model. So what are actually agents? Okay, so I'll just take a very common encyclopedia type definition from IBM. So let's just go through a few key terms here. Okay, so the definition from IBM is that the AI agents are actually autonomous systems that can perceive and act to achieve goals. So there's a few keywords here. Okay, first is that they are systems, right? So they are actually a computer based program. But there's one keyword here, which is the word autonomous. Is able to make decisions independently. Okay. The level of autonomy actually can vary depending on the sophistication of the agent system, but they are built with autonomy in mind. So you do, unlike ChatGPT, where you keep having to prompt it, okay, if you stop prompting it, it's not going to be able to continue, right? It will ask you for some responses to its questions, but then depends on you to actually continue that conversation. So agents are different. They are able to make decisions on their own in order to achieve a goal, right? So it's goal oriented. So actually humans work the same way, right? We don't need somebody to tell us every step of the way. If they tell us what's the goal, what's the objective, right? For example, you are supposed to uh, create a marketing plan, right, for Singapore in next year, right? That's the goal. I'm supposed to create a marketing plan. Then, as an autonomous system, humans are autonomous. We do make decisions on our own. We then plan what we need to do to achieve that goal, right? So agents are built with the same kind of paradigm. So it's goal driven, and you define the goal, and the system's able to plan what are the different steps that it needs to take. So this one aspect, right? Goal-driven autonomous system. The other aspect is what I mentioned just now. It is in the world. It's able to interact, perceive, receive information real time from the world, and then act on it. Okay, so it act or in the various ways. If agents are driving a car, for example, acting could be really driving it around. If agents are more something that is on your computer system and helping you to maybe create some documents, then that act actually is to generate some output for you in the form of documents. That act could also be interfaced with some of the existing things that we already have, like RPA systems. So the concept is pretty broad. It's just that it is happening very different from large language models. They are able to perceive and act in real time rather than on pre-stored batch data. So you see here that the key characteristic really is to be able to interact with the environment that's dynamic, and it makes decision based on goals, right? And it's as autonomous. Now, having said that, actually the autonomy is because I'm a researcher in this area, right? What we have currently for autonomy is very basic. Okay, typically we only have a one level kind of autonomy. We give it a goal, and the system will then plan on the actions to actually achieve that goal, right? But a higher level of autonomy, which is maybe a topic for a PhD, is how do you divide that goal into sub goals? As human beings, we don't just work on one giant goal, right? Or one tiny goal. If somebody gives us a thing like a plan for marketing for next year, I would say that what are some of the sub goals that I need to actually do, or have in order for me to achieve that bigger goal that I have. Okay, so first of all, I need to have a research goal, right? I need to do some research, and then that research goal may have different tasks or actions for it. For example, I don't need to just check on the encyclopedia. Maybe I need to check with SingStats, Google search, etc. Right? Many different sources of information. But that is actually something that's already refined from a much bigger goal that was given to me. Most agents today are not able to achieve that yet. Okay, they are still very much at a single flat level goal. The most basic agents, the goal are normally very low level. The larger goals like deep research, those that things like deep research, they are able to plan the actions, but you can see that they don't really. There's very limited capability to generate autonomously other sub goals. So that's actually an area for further development. Well, those who are in the audience today, you are probably in the right time to develop that capability. For myself, who's a researcher in this area for many years, that remains a pipe dream, right? It hasn't really come to fruition yet, even though agents now very powerful, can do a lot of things already. Just planning for create actually doing actions to accomplish the goal is already a tremendous step forward. And how they do it these days is actually they are using large language models, reasoning models to do a lot of this legwork. In the past, there were other approaches like fuzzy models, expert systems, and all the other more traditional AI techniques, even logic-based systems. Uh, but the large language models really help to push it forward because the quality of the output and the immersion capability of the large language model is a tremendous step forward for agent researchers. It was just wasn't possible to do it in a big way previously. Okay, so these are some of the different kinds of agents. So you can see that they are actually having different levels of autonomy. Of course, the reactive ones are just very basic, right? They will just react with very limited planning. So a lot of the simple chatbots do this, whereas the more proactive one has some planning. For example, autonomous vehicles, capable agent, driving agent is able to do more planning, but maybe it doesn't really divide it into sub goals as much yet. So this is the yeah, so this is the structure for now, right? We a typical structure for agent and has this memory, tool use component so they can do different actions. The tool use is actually linked to the action, right? To be able to act on the world. The this diagram doesn't include one fundamental component, is how it receives information from the world. So actually there's a missing part here, but there is a sensor, right, to receive information from the world. And then this part about planning, right? So the planning and the actions to use, a lot of this is driven by large language models or foundation models these days, right? So the planning part, and some people have also combined planning portion, not just a vanilla variety of foundation models, but they combine it with a knowledge graph that's able to represent relationships better than just statistical patterns in the data, right? So be able to do all these different planning parts. Now, memory, actually, most of you probably familiar with this part. Why is it necessary? Because agent is supposed to be an assistant for you for much longer duration. Most of us, when we use ChatGPT today, or even any of these AI co-pilots, right, we have just a short session and then we probably run out of context, right? Then he will ask you, what you need to, if you need to continue, you need to do something. So what happens when you run out of the context window? Or what happens when you use ChatGPT for too long, right? I know it's a very big window these days, but if you do start dumping in a lot of documents and images, so we'll forget, right? You run out of context window, so basically the memory, uh, computer science call this stack overflow, but it's in the AI world, it's called context window exhaustion, right? It breaks. Yeah. Then it will ask you to basically start the window again. That's okay. For the way we are using the large language models these days. But if it's supposed to be an agent, that is assisting you not just for today, but for maybe a week, maybe during the entire course of your career, you will learn more about you and actually be your assistant throughout. That can't work, right? You need otherwise you keep repeating yourself over and over again to the agent. So that's why actually agent needs to have long-term and short-term memory so that it's able to remember the context of that previous conversations with you, maybe your preferences, and is able to actually work with um, much longer time duration. Think about months or years that the agent will be with you, your pal forever, right? Not just for one single session that you have with the LLM. So that's actually going to open up a lot of additional things that you have not thought about. So actually, there are many applications like this, right? So maybe just say, today if I talk to a chatbot or ChatGPT about health, it will just remember the session. It won't remember like what was the conversation maybe 1 month ago or 6 months ago. Was I depressed like 1 year ago? It doesn't know anything about that. So it will be limited in its application because of that limited capability to have sustained a long-term conversation with you. All right. So this is actually one area. Okay. Yeah. Agent capabilities, they are still the charging model for that, I think, still being worked out now. So I won't talk about the charging yet. But yeah, this is an exciting area because now the agent is able to interact real time, right? It's going to tell you that the Prime Minister of Singapore is not Lee Hsien Loong, but Lawrence Wong, because it's going to be able to sense data from the world real time. And it will also plan how it's going to get that data as well. Uh, so there is also this term agentic AI, which came about more recently. Agents have been around since the 1990s, but agentic AI is a more new term. Actually, I see that both of these are very similar. So it's not helpful to think of them as separate things, but maybe they are more different ends of a continuum. Okay, different ends of a continuum. They are not really that distinct that we can consider them to be two separate things altogether. So on one hand, agents, so this is the spectrum, right? I'm going to consider in terms of autonomy, goal setting, the complexity, the use cases, and also the risk. So on one end of the spectrum, we have the more lower complex agents, AI agents. They are typically more bounded in their autonomy. So you give it a go, you just plan what are the actions it needs to do. It's not going to be able to divide it into sub goals and then go off and do a lot of things on your behalf. The goal is normally set by you, right? The complexity, it can be simple or slightly more complex. And the use case, typically, these are very much task driven, very domain limited. So think about a security system, security system to monitor for intrusion detection or for malware. Well, agents are used a lot in cybersecurity for monitoring already, but I would say these agents are typically more limited, right? They are more bounded, and even the some of them are still very much rule-based rather than AI machine learning based. But they are in that category. The risk is fairly low, much lower because of the limited autonomy that we give it. There's only that many things that these agents are allowed to do for us. However, for agentic AI, which is the other end of the spectrum, these are more open-ended systems. The autonomy is typically high. They can do a lot of things on our behalf, and it can generate sub goals. Yeah, this is the ideal. Although I see most of the so-called agentic AI systems here still, in terms of goal, is very much at the same level as a more limited agent at the moment. So this is an area for further development. Complexity, yes, generally more complex and adaptive in their capability. And use cases, typically multi-agent systems able to talk to each other, so they can do a lot more things for us. However, there's higher attendant risk as well. Yes, agentic. The rack is actually part of the part that was missing. So just to answer Eugene's question, there's a question on the chat about rack. So remember just now I said that there's the missing part of the date of that component, which is the perceiving, right? Receiving information from the environment. So RAG actually is coupled with that because RAG is a way of you feeding additional information to the agent. So it knows about information that is actually not present in the original large language model, but present in your documents or your information source or your database, right? That's what RAG introduces in context learning, but it is actually additional information that's introduced that's not part of the pre-training data. So the autonomy, okay, so you can see that it's very similar to the agent just now. There's a memory, reason, sensing. The sensing wasn't present in the diagram just now, so you can read in additional information from RAG, right? From your database, from your vector stores, etc. This is where the RAG comes in, the sense part. And key to agentic system is not just one agent. Typically, agentic AI works in a team. It's several different agents, or what you call a multi-agent system. MAS are not our financial controller, but a multi-agent system, MAS, working with each other. And there's a number of different mechanisms for them to actually interact with each other. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the tools and developments lately that drive, because there's also a bit of confusion over there because people are confused between MCP and A2A, etc. Okay, to extend the agent's capability, we really need the agent to be able to make use of the tools that that we as humans are able to. I mean, you as a human, you can use a lot of IT tools, right? You can use PowerPoint, you can use Word, you can do a browser search, you can store things in the database. If we were to try to make the agent more capable than what it's able to do with just the large language model, we really need to give the agent more tool use capability. That means use all these software tools, basically create some sort of wrapper around it so that the agent can call this tool just like a human is able to use Microsoft Word or PowerPoint. The agent can use that to generate documents for you. So that would be the ideal. And the other thing about this tool use is that if we have a so-called point-to-point integration, that means one agent, one tool, we have one integration. If a different agent wants to talk to the same tool, we have yet another integration. That will be quite chaotic because there's n square kind of combinations, right? So that's too many different things to take care of. It's going to be very expensive as well. So what people have come up with is something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. Think of this as the universal USB for tool use in agent world. So by building a MCP server wrapper around your tool, like let's say maybe Microsoft Word, I can then export this capability to different agents. So whether it's OpenAI's agent or Meta's agent or it's Google's agent, they can all use my Microsoft uh, software through the MCP protocol, right? And I build the wrapper once, I can export to different agents. So this is the power for MCP. But besides that, actually, for the agents to talk to each other, let's say agents not from the same vendor. Okay, DeepSeek talk to DeepSeek talk to OpenAI for some reason, right? They currently they don't have a mechanism to do that. So again, point-to-point integration. So Google actually came out with this particular protocol called agent-to-agent protocol to enable that. So tool use, actually, if you've been following what has been developed for large language models, you can also just go to your ChatGPT and ask what model you're using, what is the tool use capability. It'll tell you, right? It has the tool use capability built into the model itself. But this is limited to just the model, right? Like for example, web search. If your large language model supports web search, like some of the like GPT, right, can support web search, then you don't need to have a separate agent to do a web search. However, if the model is more basic and doesn't have so many parameters, the tool use may be still very limited. The agent having this capability basically allows you to use many different types of large language models to accomplish this. So you don't need to build the tool use inside the large language model itself. You can extract it out. So as a fine example of this is actually a DeepSeek, right? DeepSeek, when it first came out, doesn't have very much of a tool use capability built in. Okay, I know later iterations they start putting in the tool use, right? But that's why people are saying that, oh, you can't build an agent out of DeepSeek. That's because they thought that you need to have tool use to build an agent. But actually, you can put the tool use inside the agent itself, and then you can use the even earlier version of DeepSeek to build a model. And I think some of the researchers in China actually did that, right? Um, yeah, so this is just talking more about tool use. So we can actually have that tool use built into the agent itself. Then the agent it basically will coordinate the tool use between different LLMs. Okay. Okay, these are the agent protocols. The first one being the model context protocol. This is actually a protocol to allow your agent to talk to different tools, be it a browser, be it some sort of API, could it be a rack system, and it could be RPA even actually. It's like a USB-C connection for your agent. So it's able to talk to many different tools. And I think tool use is very exciting because just like humans depend on a lot of tools, right, in our daily life. If we really want the agent to be more capable and help us in many things other than just browsing for information, we really need to give it more tool use. A tool use not just to input information, which is one aspect, right? Getting a web search, etc. But tool use also to generate information. For example, I can generate a PowerPoint slide directly. I can generate a Word document. I can generate a whole user interface code. We already see some of this being done. Okay, so there's this AI agentic coder tool called zencoder.ai. You can check it out, right? It's not just Copilot that gives you more information, but it's able to actually use the agent to actually generate out the output and save it for you, right? So it does a lot more automation than just what's capable with the large language models alone. And then the agent-to-agent protocol, where it's basically one chat GPT talking to Claude in this case, but of course it can also allow DeepSeek to talk to OpenAI if they want to speak the same language. So the humans are able to do this in our day-to-day life because we have a lingua franca, right? We all speak in mostly in the lingua franca in the world is actually um, English. Of course, some people will beg to differ, but English. So we want to allow these agents. So we need to introduce the same or the equivalent of English, right? A lingua franca for agents to talk to each other so they can exchange information, even though their native language may be different, right? They could be from different using different large language models, etc. So, but because of this lingua franca, they are able to talk to each other. So this is what the agent-to-agent protocol on the top there actually allows us to do. So this actually, Eric Schmidt in his talk, when he talked about agent-to-agent protocol, did mention that there's one red line that we should be very careful of when we go this direction with agent-to-agent communication, and that is that we should never let the agent talk to each other without humans understanding the communication. So I just want to pause here maybe for to ask you, why do you think that's the case? So A to A is basically defined in English. It means JSON and text, but it is basically English, so you can still understand what they're talking to each other. But imagine they start devising some sort of language that is mathematical, right? That's beyond what humans can understand. So Eric Schmidt actually mentioned that you shouldn't allow that. That's a red line. If you ever see that, you should pull the plug. So Susan said, so that humans can still have control. No one say Terminator scenario. Yeah. So the that red line really is for preservation, right? Because if they start communicating each other in some other language that we cannot understand as humans, then we don't know what they're actually communicating each other. So you can look up on YouTube. There's actually this. I think this show has been pulled for some reason now. Some say it's by Elon Musk. I'm not so sure. But it's a show called Forbin Project, Forbin. But you can still find it on YouTube. It talks about two giant super AIs, one built by Russia, one built by the US. That did precisely that. Okay, yeah. Interesting show. Yeah, but the scenario is basically similar to what you have said, right? It's for self-preservation that we shouldn't allow the agents to cross this particular red line. But having this capability for the agents is going to be great, right? For openness, for much larger systems than what one single company can build. Yeah, so this is just a repeat of what I just mentioned. I think running out of time, so let me just go very quickly through this. Okay, yeah. Agent protocol. I would say that MCP is a lot more developed at the moment than agent to agent protocol. But I think the potential for this multi-agent system, especially for agentic AI, for A to A, is there. But the MCP is definitely moving much faster than A to A. Oh yeah, part of the agent to agent protocol. Actually, the agent has like a resume. The agent card tells you what's able to do, so that you can talk to the correct agent. Okay, so what are some of the applications? So computer use, I mean, driving the browsing behavior. This is actually very quickly moving. I think everybody that has a browser is trying to build a AI or agent-enabled browser at the moment. So these are not the only ones. Everybody has something in the works actually. Of course, they haven't fully announced what they have yet, but yeah, you just keep a tab on it because you will see more and more of these agents inside your browser. Vehicle self-driving vehicles applications. These are really chatbot type of application like voice assistants. These have been around for a while. Of course, the autonomy is still limited, but maybe with the A to A tool use, they will be able to do a lot more for us in the future. Benefits, efficiency, scalability, 24/7 availability, and lower labor costs. Yes. Energy costs, maybe not, but labor costs, yes. Okay, what are some of the challenges? Really, agents can be scammed, just like humans, and they can also be used to help try to scam humans as well. Yeah, and then your privacy, your data that's actually being used without your permission, these are also some areas of concern. And there are still some technical limitations in terms of more complex decision making that they need to do. Okay, I mentioned some of this. Okay, like protecting users' IP is definitely something which is dependent because there's pre-trained data, right? So pre-trained data normally not all data is open source or without any sort of IP linkage. So at the moment, the most of them are training off Wikipedia data, which is supposedly open source, right? But if you start training off Ghibli cartoons and other stuff, actually the law hasn't really quite caught up with this area because they were designed to protect human IP, right? Rather than protect the ideas behind IP other than through patents, right? So actually this one is open problem. We need more work on it. And security, I mean privacy, of course, people have been doing that. But again, other than the EU GPDR, we don't see as much very far-reaching legislation. And GPDR is a double-edged sword. Some people say it's good. Some people say it just hampers innovation, and people will still be able to bypass it anyway. Yeah, copyright. Copyright is for copies. It's not for things that are inspired by the same thing. So copyright only protects copies. It doesn't protect the idea or the style. So some of the things that can be improved. Okay, so far actually most of the agents they are always very authoritative. Or you talk to ChatGPT or any of these agents, they will always sound very authoritative. There can be more in terms of letting a user know that you are talking to an AI agent. It may not be able to always tell you the correct information because it doesn't have everything. Okay, instead of being so convincingly wrong. That you sometimes get when it hallucinates. You won't. It will sound very convincing, but it's actually convincingly wrong. Okay, bias is one that I actually am a bit concerned about because actually most of these models and agents they are being developed in certain parts of the world. I did some experiments, like say I asked it to create a picture of a steak for me, steak dinner. Wow, but very good, right? Looks so delicious, right? I asked it to create a bowl of fish head curry, and this is what it gives me. Yes, it's the fish head in curry. But I'm sure you will agree this is not fish head curry, right? That you're familiar with. Yeah, Eugene, you're right, right. It is very convincing, right? Even when it's wrong. So this one is yeah. You can try other things like I think I said some Indian student they say no, I want to create with sari and all that instead of just a normal Western suit and all that. Yeah, it gets a bit confused because it doesn't have enough of the pre-training data in certain parts of the world. So I think what we need is really more localized information sources for these agents so that we can have the cultural values, etc., included in them. Yeah, that's one of them. But it has to be more expensive lah than just a term, right? How much data was actually ingested? It's actually a very expensive exercise lah, to build a foundation model. Okay, yeah, so saving your data. Okay, so I want to move away from just some of these very obvious ones. Okay, I just want to say that there I want to recognize that there are definitely some challenges in terms of societal impact. So the number one that people talk a lot about on the blogs and social media is the economic impact, right? The impact on job creation, the impact on jobs. Yes, it is more efficient and it's able to do things 24 by 7. It doesn't get bored. So those tasks that actually humans probably cannot really perform very well on the longer duration. You can probably spot some things. We were doing inspection, you can spot some things. The first hour, the second hour, you start getting tired. The third hour, you start missing things out already. So it's just normal that these tasks they are not meant for humans to do. So there's definitely some tasks that agents can do better. But how about since that we give it two use and we give it so many additional capabilities, right? How about tasks that are more higher level, like accountant's job, right? Creating reports, programmer's job, creating programs. When we give it the capability to create this, and we are just driven by a cost cutting or cost savings exercise, then we will see more and more deployment just driven by the cost savings exercise. I'm not saying that I have a solution for this, but we definitely need to recognize that this is going to be an open issue, right? Because they are definitely going to be able to do certain things better than humans, and we are giving it more and more capability every day. So there's some of these organizations, including one that opened, I think AISG is a partner of in Singapore, which is the not myself, but the AISG team in Singapore and then US. They are working together with partnership with AI. So they said there are some goals for shared prosperity for AI. Very recently, Benjo, one of the godfathers of deep learning, came out with these laws. You know the three laws of robotics, right? So this is law zero. Okay, number one law before you talk about law one, law two, and law three, is to protect human joy and endeavor. So I think it's very heartening that people are given it further thought, going beyond just the profit uh, goals. There's also definitely many social problems that exist, including in healthcare, in education. And I think the agents actually give us a way to actually overcome some of this. The governance challenges. So one famous problem, and I think with 5 minutes, I will want to stop here, is the famous trolley problem. If you have an agent here at the top controlling the trolley, and the trolley is supposed to kill 5 people, or if you pull the lever, it's going to kill only one person, agent will automatically just pull the lever, right? Cause minimize the loss. AI got no problem, but if you can put a human there, human might make the decision differently. Okay, for example, this person that's at the end, is it a important person or maybe it's the prime minister and those five prisoners, right? Should we just allow it to ram down the five prisoners and save the prime minister? So this is the thing that when we call ethical dilemma, right? AI is not quite able to handle this at the moment, and we should be careful giving it too much autonomy. And agent systems can be hacked because the attack surface is actually larger. I actually wrote an article on this in the AI in the Asia Pacific AIAP. AI Asia Pacific organization. You can take a look at it on some of the cybersecurity challenges for yeah. Or follow me on LinkedIn. Okay, you can see the article. I'll get the link from my LinkedIn. So as far as the future, I think we cannot. The cat is out of the bag. We are not going to be able to keep agent and lock it away. They're just going to grow for sure. And there's going to be impact on society. There are some books that have been written, and I think the important thing is that we can't ignore it. We can't keep it back in the bag. But I think responsible development would be the key. And I'm open the floor to, I think I answered some of the questions along the way, but some of you may have some additional questions. So I will pause here for questions. I think for the seminar materials, etc., you can contact with the organizers because I'm not at privy to know. I don't have your contacts for one.
Yeah, hi
Yeah.
Peter.
Yes.
Coming here. So maybe I'll just read through some of the questions that the people have. Then after that, maybe
Mm.
you can answer so that'll be a bit easier from your end.
Okay. Can.
Thank you. Okay, so I think Tiam Huat has this question on, is genetic AI still useful as we focus on agentic AI now? And would ML engineer be obsolete?
So what generic AI? Yes, it's still actually useful.
Sorry, is generative AI, sorry, still useful compared, because we're focused on agentic AI now, and would ML
No,
engineering be obsolete?
I hope I didn't give you the wrong impression. It's not a replacement. It's a natural progression. Okay, so actually for the agents, they use generative AI like a tool. Okay, and they depend on the generative AI models that can do reasoning to do a lot of the planning capability. So they are actually complementary. They would actually work together. Now, ML engineer, will it be our job? Not per se, because I think ML engineer to actually or AI engineer to build new models, to adapt. Right. Actually, there's a lot of project and things to do for that. Although the large language model or the agent is built to handle a lot of general cases with a common infrastructure, it still has to be adapted to particular industry, to particular values. For example, right, you may not want to use yeah, that was the thing, right? People were very hesitant to use DeepSeek or even Manus because it may encompass some values that is not aligned with their own home country.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to the next question. I think Shane has this question. He agrees that LLM are different from agent, but why are only certain LLM used to build agent? What's the difference? And of course, for open source LLM, for the functions of the LLM framework, are they taught in the course?
Okay, my course, right, is covering the fundamental concepts. So it's meant for people who are starting out from maybe a different area, for example, engineering, or they are working in the government agency and they are starting out on some sort of AI project. It is really catered for specialists who are asking very specific questions. That one, I think you need to do a PhD or go for a very specialized course. So my course will cover the fundamental things about machine learning. So you know what's machine learning about, what you need to watch out for when you do the training for these models. So if you come to the course, you realize that when we say training, we say one word, but actually why it's taking so long and why it takes so much computational power. Uh, you come to the course, you understand why, right? Some things are a bit of still a bit of an art rather than the science in machine learning. So I think this is where the intuition, the human intuition, the people's knowledge of the world, rather than just the statistical patterns that we see in the world, are still helpful. So yeah, the large language models they're still developing. You see, 2 years ago when I asked, I actually this famous joke, right? Somebody actually put on ChatGPT, 1 plus 7, what's the answer? So the ChatGPT say 8, right? So then the guy say, oh, but my wife says it's 9, and my wife is always right. You try that now, the answer is different. In the past, the ChatGPT will just say, oh, I'm sorry that your wife is right. Yeah, the 1 plus 7 is equals to 9. You will just defer to the human, but now it will just give you a different answer because yeah, it has learned to give a more nuanced answer, even though your wife is always right.
Thank you, Peter. So I think Michael has this question. Is there a tool used to support multiple AI agent models?
Multiple AI agent models.
Yep.
I think the idea for multi-agent systems is not to have a multi-agent AI model, but for them to the individual models to work in a distributed manner. Because if you look at the history for agent development, it started off from this idea of a distributed AI. You know, most of the AI that we have currently today is still very centralized. So when we talk to ChatGPT, there's only one ChatGPT system. You talk to Gemini, there's only one Gemini system. You talk to Meta AI, it's also only one Meta, or yeah, it's consuming like gigawatts of power, but there's only essentially one system that may be distributed. But AI agents will work in a different manner. So you will have many distributed agents, maybe agent on your phone, an agent for your home, an agent in your office. They will be different agents, although they are representing you, and they will talk to each other to coordinate with each other.
Okay,
So
then
the idea is the distributed manner, and then the agent to agent protocol being used to coordinate rather than having one massive giant model.
thank you, Peter. So I think the next question that we have from Kai Chuan is, there are so many agent frameworks out there. How do we get started learning them?
Wow. I think just like okay, just like large language model foundation models, probably I think a good choice would be just learn the most popular one, right? That's commonly being deployed, because after all, the purpose of learning is also not just to do a PhD, but to really see how they can be usefully deployed in production, right? So the one with the most users also has the benefit of having the most user feedback as well. So I think that is a more useful decision matrix. So how can I bring this from just experimentation to deployment? And the one that has most popular and has the most user base will probably be the best way forward for that. I hope that's okay, Kashan, I hope that answers your question. Okay, I can't see the Q&A. Why is it?
No worries, it's at the bottom. So the next one is, will you trust ChatGPT to create a plugin for you?
I don't trust ChatGPT to do anything for me. I will always check, right? Yeah. Uh, yeah, but you can make it. It's not a question of trust. You can make it yourself more efficient by asking it to create a version for you, and then you ask maybe something else to check it, or you check it yourself manually. But yeah, it's always good to check, right? Don't trust it blindly.
Okay, so the next one will be, can you talk more about AI agent evaluation? For example, to monitor the effectiveness of the AI agent.
Wow, this one is a big topic. I can't really uh in this talk answer this question adequately, but I think you can look at yeah, this is a big topic. You can look at as if there's a lot of researchers who have who posted information about this. Okay, so one of the ideas was using another LLM as a judge, right? To as part of the evaluation. Actually, one of the challenges for evaluation, because for large language models, a lot of the evaluation was done off human created content, right? The effectiveness of humans answering those same doing those same tasks. So we're comparing against the human performance. But for agents, at the moment, yes, we will probably need to get a human to do the equivalent, and then you compare the two. But I think moving forward, as the capability of the agents become more and more, right, we need to have other modes of evaluating them, including a more automated one, like for example, using an LLM as a judge. Otherwise, it might be very expensive to do, more expensive to do the evaluation than to use the agent itself.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so next one is business for us. So you say, how long is the agentic AI course in SP, and can we use Skills Future?
How long is the it or you can come for the specialist diploma I mentioned just now to understand the yes, you can definitely use Skills Future lah. Right? The course is actually 2 times a week for 8 months with a holiday in between. So you can use Skills Future. It's very in fact the funding level is very high. Saying you could just even if you don't have Skills Future credit, you are paying just a few $100
Yeah.
for it.
So just to
And
jump in, Peter,
yeah,
if you're 40 and above, the estimated cost, correct, is only about $700 for the whole year. And of
yes,
course, if let's say you are below 40, then the cost is about 1K estimated. So it's
yeah.
actually very affordable to
Yeah,
come
very
over.
affordable. I think many of my students actually who are above 40, they say they are coming for free course.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when you pay in time lah, you pay in your mental but yeah, it's a good one lah, cause you exercise your brain. Exercise is good, right?
Exactly. And you don't need any background because Peter will actually be training you from
Ah,
scratch.
yes. So the idea was
Important.
for the program was to be more inclusive, to train and give the
Exactly.
opportunity to everyone.
Thank you, Peter. So Eugene has this question. What are some low code, no code tools to build our own AI programs?
You can try with the Power Platform. I think it's quite good for low code platform, and then it's well integrated into the Microsoft suite of tools already. So the Microsoft Power Platform with the low code, the Power FX, and then we have the Power Apps, and then we have Power Automate. And then for agents, they have the Copilot Studio, which can create your own custom agents. It has built-in RAG capability, by the way. So yeah.
Then
So
the next question will be, is there a difference in assessment criteria between agentic agent and AI agent?
they have two ends of the spectrum. So I think to be fair, because they are on two ends of the spectrum, you have to be varying the assessment, right? Because for example, you just assess based on autonomy, the AI agent will straight away fail, right? In comparison to agentic AI. So yeah, you still need to have some sort of more nuanced assessment criteria.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and I think Ray has asked, can share the link of the course. So I've shared it to everyone. So this the
Oh, okay.
link to our specialist diploma. So in that itself, once you click in itself, there'll be a bit of course scheduling,
Mm,
some of the course background, and more
yeah.
importantly itself, okay, once you click in itself, okay, there's this register button there. So once you click on the register, you'll be brought to the page where you will even have the exact cost of how much is it to do for the
Mm,
course and the schedule and everything. And of course, once you register, all we need from you is your email, your name, and your number. And then after that, some of our colleagues from our internal team will be
yeah.
calling you and accessing and everything. So
Yeah.
the registration date is up to 31st of August. I'll ping it in. So please come for Peter's course so you can see Peter.
Yes. It's open for the October intake, October this year until you graduate in time for the graduation next April, right? You finish by April, in time for the graduation in May next year. The course is quite hot, so you please try to register early. I have already basically filled up more than one class already, so yeah, places are limited. Not SCTP. It's a specialist diploma.
Okay, so give me a minute to get the link. Maybe again there's some issue. Okay, so I think we'll answer the next question and let me get the link correct. Now that
I think you must put a slash at the end. Okay.
yeah, I
I mean,
guess so.
yeah.
Now that uh generative AI can be used to answer the same questions, example sentiment analysis, they are answered by discriminative AI. Is discriminative AI still relevant?
Okay, here's the interesting thing, right? It is relevant because actually a lot of mission critical applications are still dependent on the more deterministic nature of uh, discriminative AI, right? So the hallucination problem is always there. You don't want your lift, for example, that you press to be controlled by generative AI because you might not get to your destination. So a lot of mission critical industry applications, they are still using the more traditional AI that's been done and tested, but well tested. Yeah.
And then the next question that we have will be, do you need Python programming skills for the course? What's the basic prerequisites? So this one, maybe we
Oh
can
no, this one, no need. We will
yeah.
teach you Python from the very beginning. If you know any programming language, of course, it will be a plus because some of the basic concept, like what's the loop, etc., you already know, right? But we will teach you from scratch. So I have a lot of students in the past. Oh, by the way, this course is has been running for a long time. So we have fine-tuned the process of how to convert you from basically zero to knowing something. Over well, we're more than 500 graduates already, 500 plus graduates. So we've been running since 2018 October. So you don't need any prerequisites, and you are in safe hands. You definitely would learn something. And the thing that you need is perseverance. Cause it won't be so easy that come in straight away. We'll be able to just take a break, right? Yeah, but it's just yeah.
Exactly. And just to answer yourself, correct, the first module that we are teaching for the first semester, correct, will be the programming in Python itself.
Yeah.
So and that module itself, correct, just to highlight, it cuts across all our analytics type of modules. So if you take this itself, correct, and you want to take other specialist diploma that is on the analytics side, that is data engineering, stuff like that, you will not need to take the semester again. So it's stacked. So our first two modules is statistics and programming, because as Dr. Peter has said, correct, that's the things that you need. So once you need it itself, then we'll go into the juicy meats part a bit later. Then I think Eugene has also mentioned he has no CS or programming experience. Will the course be too hard? So the answer, of course, is no,
Mm.
because the course is actually designed for people with no prerequisite or programming background. That's why we are teaching the programming and the statistics in the first semester before as what I said, we go to the meaty part. Then another question would be, do you teach prompting? So we do have a 1 day course on prompt engineering itself. It's on our website. So if there's interested, then you can go. But of course, prompting, I will believe that Dr. Peter will be touching on his module as well.
In
So please
course
remember.
itself lah, not as
Yes.
yeah. I mean, it's we do use the generative AI tools like Gemini in the course. All these programming tools that are available. They were built for CS, but especially now in the data area, the capability is growing. But I think more importantly is not to worry too much about programming these days. It's actually a big plus for people who are not from the CS area. Because those tools, they can help you to get over some of this basically reading the documentation kind of tasks.
Sure. So the next question is a long one. The attendee is working in a public agency. They want to explore using agentic workflow. How can I deploy one in this kind of secure environment?
Wow, again, not to be answered in just one shot.
Yeah.
I think uh I believe my colleagues are actually coming out with a agent I mean a practical agent deployment kind of course. It's not theoretical kind of answer lah. So I think a more practical course where it goes on some hands-on and considers maybe have some workshop to consider some of this as a group. Those will be helpful lah, rather than just looking at some papers. Normally this paper will be very theoretical kind of assessment.
Mm.
Yeah, but your
Agree.
question is more practical in nature.
Exactly. So in fact, if you're interested, we do have this AI bootcamp that we're actually teaching all our colleagues from WOG itself. So we'll be expanding it to the public, I think, maybe next year. So do keep a lookout if you're interested.
Mm,
Because this one, like
yeah,
what
that's good. Yeah, a good course.
That's what
Yeah.
other people say is
Mm,
the course that we also teach about. So the LMs are there, the RECs are there, and in fact, the project they're supposed to do is to design one AI agent on its own, correct? So that you can actually do it as a project type. Okay.
mm.
So this is another one. I have a particular task. Is there any platform currently to integrate ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, etc. into one place so that we can all experiment and pull the results in one place? Wow.
No, all right. Okay, for DeepSeek, basically there's a firewall against them lah. So as I mentioned earlier, the idea behind agents is distributed processing. So I think instead of thinking of one giant agent, the A2A protocol, right? If they can speak in the A2A protocol, you can integrate them talking to each other. But having said that, it also predicated by them wanting to talk to each other, because if DeepSeek talk to OpenAI, maybe they will say, sorry, we don't want to talk to you. So maybe you can build a diplomat agent in between. You talk to the different countries on their behalf. Maybe something that's for Singapore to do. Singapore is very good as the go between peacemaker.
Possible. Okay, so another long one for you, Dr. Peter. So please get ready. So, Shreya has asked, right, can agentic AI chase human to complete project delivery tasks and escalate to boss? If tasks not complete on time, can they broadcast the risk and mitigation plan? Wow.
Well, I think that's fully within the capability of the agent. It's just whether we would allow AI to lead rather than AI support humans to lead. I think this is a question of more the organization's culture. It's not a technical question. Technically, I think it's doable.
Yes, that's why I definitely agree. Maybe I drop the link again. Okay. Okay, so this one I can take on the answers itself. So one will be asking is the email to will the recording and slides be shared. So unfortunately, like I said, this one we have to check with the organizers. We are not too certain about this, but of course, if it's a yes, then of course Dr. Peter has already shared the slides. So if it's able, I think they will send it out to the people who will sign up. So Chair has asked how to sign up for the course. We have already sent you the link itself. So please do come in. Then if you're interested in AI or data engineering itself, I'll also ping the data engineering course there itself. So, you know, we are in the same family. Will we get the recording? Yes. So this one, unfortunately, we are not sure. Okay, so Raymond has said he has checked the specialist diploma in data science, but it seems a bit general and don't cover agentic AI. Is there a module of specialist diploma covering design, agentic AI, RAG, etc.?
Mm, okay, because the current synopsis is for the course, as I said, is we are covering more the foundational topics, right? What's machine learning, what's training, etc. We don't have a specialist diploma that covers agentic and generative AI specifically as a topic. It's been infused inside the course. For example, in the AI human interface, we'll be covering some of these things like agentic AI, uh, and generative AI concepts as well. So in that module, the one on AI human interface. So in the past, that one we already introduced agent concept because we were actually using chatbots, talking about how to develop chatbots using a more rule-based approach. But moving forward, we will start introducing more and more of this generative AI, LM-driven kind of virtual agents instead.
Sure. Okay, then one last question would be, can you do you conduct online if you cannot make it to class? Are the lectures recorded?
Yes, definitely. They're always recorded. When I say they are face to face, they are always recorded. And they are also hybrid mode because we are actually working towards a mode where people who are on work assignment, for example, they will still be able to sign in and attend synchronously, as though they're actually present in class. So that's a constraint that SSG has placed on us for synchronous classes at the moment. But I think we have fed back to them about the adult learners experience, right? Because not always their choice. They sometimes need to travel for work, etc. So we are trying to make it more flexible by not only just recording the attendance for asynchronous session, but also for the synchronous sessions as well. But they are always recording. If you miss it, you will be able to follow up in the recording. Attendance for specialist diploma courses by SSG, they are only required attendance only 50%. So unless you give up and then you start disappearing, you will definitely not be failed in terms of attendance.
Okay, sorry. In the midst of typing. So the last one that I've entered is this AI Champions Bootcamp. So this one is the bootcamp that is on the LMs, the rack and everything itself, correct? If there's interest, you can see. But currently, we're opening it to more of the whole of government first. So if you're working in whole of government, then I think you can register. If not itself, we will be up to the public very soon. Lester say we will miss my question, so maybe you can retype the question because I guess there's quite a bit of question here. We can't really see that. So if there's any more questions from if it's Lester, maybe you can type it in again, then I can have a quick look.
So now there was a question about 4 p.m. I just want to say that actually our face-to-face sessions are 6:30, not 4 p.m. All right. Those people want my contact, you can just follow me on the LinkedIn if possible. It's just www.linkedin. Just look for /Peter Leong. You, I think you will definitely be able to find me. Like, it's just, at least in Singapore, no problem. I think yeah, even the world there are many Peter Leongs, but there's only one Dr. Peter Leong.
I will put his LinkedIn into the chat as well. So I'm putting it in now. So give me a quick second, then I'll put it in so that everyone can find Peter.
Yeah. I prefer
So
not the email, cause email I'm basically, I'm struggling with the email most of the time. So yeah.
okay, so I think Lester's question is on the assumption that programming skills is everyday skills. I find this technology very democratic. What do you think the world economy look like from your point of view, apart from your economic impacts? Like, wow, this I think is so as Peter is trying to answer this very psychological and physiological question itself. I've already pinged Peter's LinkedIn inside just below the DC Bootcamp one. Sorry, the AI Bootcamp one. So please go in and add so that Peter has now like 1,000, 2,000, or even 10,000 followers. Okay, okay. So Peter, please.
Yeah, you can follow me, and I do put up articles from various people, and also sometimes my own articles on different channels. So you will be okay. This question is a very important question. I would say it's above my pay grade to really answer this question. But it's something which we with various groups I work with, including one group called the AI for Humanity, headed by Professor James Ong. I think right now he's the WAIC, the World AI Conference. This group has also attended many events in Davos, the World Economic Forum as well. Yeah, so AI for Humanity says that just like the law zero, right? We really should move beyond just a profit-driven approach, right? So I think that preeminence of human values and humans endeavor, human happiness has to come first, right? Then we will build a world towards that. If we build a world that is only more efficient, then I think the result will be obvious. I already tried to allude to that, right? If you're just saying that just be more efficient, be able to do things faster, yeah, is the future doesn't look very bright.
Yeah, so I think I was scrolling up. So I think Min has this question. Can you share a bit about your experiences or your colleagues' experiences building AI agents for your actual work? How did the agents perform? And she also thank you for a very insightful talk.
Okay. We okay, I'm actually trying to build something for our own courses, okay, an agent to help me develop courses rather than just generating code. I think the thing to take away is that number one, there are 1,001 LLMs out there, so I think you need to pick an LLM that is actually more adapted to what you want to do, okay? Because otherwise your effort in fine tuning is going to be tremendous. And after doing all the fine tuning, you might find that it's still that you did not have enough data to fine tune in to what you want.
So I guess I think we have maybe one more question here. Can agents search the internet using Google or other search engine to provide most updated data? Let me say yes.
Sorry, I don't get the question.
Yeah, I think it's a yes lah. So I think that one we can skip. Okay, I guess okay, let me scroll a bit more. Uh, okay, so I think so I think there's oh sorry, I still feel a bit more Q&A. So let's continue. I'm an accounting agent. Sorry, I'm an account manager. I apologize. I'm an account manager moving towards project management and ultimately product management for tech. I'm looking to be managing products of for installing AI agents in the work environment. What type of course should I be starting with from Stan?
Accounting, memory, project,
Yeah. So
okay,
let me type
product.
the question into you so they can
I know,
see.
I can see it, I can see it.
Oh, you can see. Oh, good, 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 good.
What type of course should I start with? Hmm.
So as
I would say that I don't know what's your background, but if you have at least especially I mean a poly diploma, or you some sort of a degree, you can come in for our specialty diploma in AI course. I think the background is important to understand why this technology is going in this particular direction. I would just want to say that for Lester on the chat, right? Yeah, I didn't say that, but I don't think the future is already predetermined. Okay, the future is not predetermined. I don't think, just like the Terminator series, right? Yeah, if you have some foreknowledge of what's going to happen, if you just let things be, I think human beings have always been proven to be resilient enough and farsighted enough to do things differently.
Okay, great. So I guess I'll answer the rest first because I guess the first one is Swati is your new student, so she has been enrolled in. So it's the course and they say commencing 21st of October. So they say that is the course 6 months to 1 year, so it's 1 year. So it's 2 semesters lah. So it's two semesters.
There's a holiday in between.
Exactly. So it won't be like the full 1 year. So there'll be, I know, about 15 weeks itself. Then there'll be a break and then followed by another 15 weeks. And then was this going to be safe so we can view? So again, this is for the organizer. We are not too clear on that. Apologies. Do we need to do project presentation? Answer is yes. So there'll be project presentation, but maybe not some individual, some groups itself, but not so it's part of the project that you need to do for the
Mm.
modules that you have.
I would say more like a demo,
Yes.
yeah, rather
Interview,
than
a demo, just to
yeah.
ask. So you do not need to like stand up there, to be grilled, but it's more like to
Yeah,
share
it's
what
because
you
we don't want ChatGPT to do the work on your behalf.
exactly. Please post the course coordinator's email. Yes, sure. I think by doing the register button itself, correct, you will be able to directly go to the area already. So you just have to click on the link that will give you and register. It will actually directly link to our PACE colleague who will inform Dr. Peter.
Uh,
So I think that will be a bit
okay, I think
easier.
we are in the overtime a lot. But there's
Exactly.
this the question about RPA, which I got before, so I just want to answer
Yes.
that.
Sure.
The MCP probably will be integrated together with the RPA so that it can become a tool that the agent can use. But I don't think agents will replace RPA per se.
Agree.
Yeah, but it will
Because
become an integrated tool.
exactly, because like I say, RPA is for automation itself. So this one, the agenda is much more than that. Okay, so anyway, I think we have overtime by half an hour, so now it's exactly 12. So I think we would uh okay, so I think the last question is he has been graduated from the AI apprentice program. Can he be exempted from Python?
Okay, just answer this question. Okay, for of course, there may be the rest of the program quite interested in this AIAP, AISG's program. Actually, I designed together with Lawrence this program. But way at the beginning, at the launch of AISG was also the launch of my course actually. So, yes, certainly, I think if you apply and you mentioned, you can just apply first and then request for the exemption. You can be exempted from both of them, right? But I think the statistics may be something which we cover a little bit more in depth than the AISG one. So I'm not sure if you want really to be exempted from that one, because we have the math, all the mathematicians in our math department covering the statistics in quite detail. I think beyond what the AISG, which is a more com science kind of organization, is able to really do lah. I don't think they have mathematicians in the staff per se, right? So focus is very different. But the programming part, yes, definitely, I will consider exempting you. For the rest who are actually in the chat and still in the chat, uh, the the coverage is definitely good enough for you to apply for the AIP. In fact, many of my students or ex-students have applied for the AIP, and some of them have gone through the program and found it very helpful for them in their AI journey as well. Specialists deep don't have any sort of internship or residency, so there's no industry experience that we can pack together with the program. But the AIAP will give you that. Okay, so it's very good for them to be in tandem actually. If you go to the specialist deep, you get the basic prerequisites, then you know how good you are also. Then apply for the AIAP program. You of course you will need to work towards it. More recently, we have a WSP version for young poly graduates. I'm not sure how many of them are actually in this webinar, which is why I didn't mention it, but there is a WSP version just open for registration for the first time this time round. So if you're a recent poly graduate and you want to earn as you learn, that it will include the internship part, right? The residency part of the program. On top of learning the theory, you will have the real life project to work in together with the sponsor company.
Thank you. Then the last question is there for something for cybersecurity? So yes, I've already put it in the chat. We
Yeah,
have a specialist diploma in cybersecurity
yeah.
management as well.
I,
So
I actually got a lot of students from cybersecurity in my course before also, because actually these days AI tools are extensively used in cybersecurity, both by the hacker as well as the defender.
exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's all. So we'll go on to end the webinar now. So thank you so much for attending, and wishing everyone a good weekend. And of course, thank you, Dr. Peter, for such a
Yes.
wonderful
Yes.
sharing. So thank
All
you so
right.
much. We'll end
Mm.
the webinar for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.